Hello, guys. I've broken out of streamer jail. I've tried to, at least. We're back. All right, awesome. So Gordon didn't like that we were watching his show, I guess. So we're gonna have to watch something else. We're gonna watch. Here, check this out. So I started watching this video, but I didn't get super far. It's a Starfield, like a history of Starfield video. It's kind of it gives internet historian vibes, but probably not AI generated like his shit. Dude, I need something more intellectual. I know I'm a zoomer, but I'm an old zoomer. Okay, the Subway Surfers doesn't do it for me. We're gonna try this. Let me know if this one goes down or not. But this one seemed interesting. I'm gonna turn it up a bit too. This guy's name is Big Boss on YouTube. So shout outs to Big Boss. This video seemed really good up as far as I got. I got like 8 minutes in or so. But we're definitely going to be farming for more than 8 minutes. So let's check it out. See what Big Boss has to say.
This video is sponsored by Opera.
It's sponsored by Opera. Hell yeah. I fuck with Opera.
The year is 2023, and for Bethesda Game Studios, it's the final sprint.
That's kind of meta, Justin, actually. If this gets struck, then that's what we'll do.
A quarter century of work. And for hundreds of people, almost a decade of full-scale production is about to materialize. Starfield is releasing on the 6th of September, and Todd Howard's magnum opus will be upon us.
Have you guys played Starfield? I have not played it.
Fallout 76 reviews have come in.
Because I heard it was so
and they're
shit.
Not too hot. Fallout 4 is a few years before. Not amazing either. Todd's once perfectly polished image is now getting torn to shreds. The people,
Rip Todd.
They're like wild animals. But he remains unfazed. When they see this next project, everything
Real image of Todd Howard.
Starfield is Todd Howard's dream game.
I played Fallout 4 quite a bit. Fallout 4 is pretty good.
Bethesda had waited patiently for the technology to arrive to make it.
I think I'm going to turn it down, actually, because I don't want to talk over it.
By this point, Todd has also amassed an army of around 500 people.
Well, if I talk over it, I want to be louder than it.
And 4 whole studios. The manpower here.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is pretty decent.
And they're going in big.
The role-playing is just not great. It's the only Fallout game I've played.
Something they spent a ton of time and money on, and turned out to be one of the biggest complaints of their last mainline game. Let's bring it back. And at the start of Starfield's development, Bethesda's design lead and head writer Emil Paliarulo goes on to cast voice actors and record lines. He's even weighing having multiple voice actors this time round. However, early on in development, higher-ups come to a realization. Bethesda had been taking an unrelenting stream of L's for a few years now. Starfield, well, it should probably be.
I'm pulling up my my stream dashboard
pace and to actually take in some fan
so I can see if we get taken down again. Lol.
Thing is scrapped entirely. The game engine too, historically a notoriously robust bit of kit, and as brilliant as it is, fans have been quite vocal about wanting a better one for almost a decade, so they get working on that too. Also,
Better Call Saul is based.
Well, they're actually adding some here.
Actually,
behind the scenes, things are looking good. 2021.
All right, we're in.
5 years of active development, and the game is beginning to take shape. Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax has also just been bought out by Microsoft, and money is now no object. Microsoft wants a system seller, and Todd's only job is to deliver one.
Luckily, if I just wait for my stamina bar to fill and I swing then, it's like perfect timing.
13th of June,
for it to respawn.
Todd marches on stage, and we get our first look. Wow. Their first new
I was
entry in
hyped for
25
Starfield.
Years. The ultimate Bethesda game.
I was super hyped for it.
And after years of groveling for a new engine,
But after No
We
Man's
get
Sky,
our-
I'm done buying
the
buying
creation
games
engine.
before
2.
like reviews come out. And I'm glad I
Okay,
dodged this
people
one.
aren't massively thrilled, but this is groundbreaking stuff, Todd insists. And there it is, one of Todd's crazy dates again. May 22nd, 2022, around 7 months out from launch, and that's out the window, because the game's delayed.
There we go.
Come back
Now
in
we're
early
leveling this up.
2023. The disappointment is palpable. But in
See
June,
the
Todd's on stage again,
progress.
and we hear some familiar lines.
Our most ambitious game ever, where you get to be who you want and go where you want.
Not again. But then, we get a
16
glimpse at
times the detail.
gameplay for the first time. Deep crafting systems, weapon mods, buildable outposts, even your own spaceships. Wait, we can even fly them? Land and explore anywhere? Over 100 systems? Over 1,000 planets? My god. Also, were those background options and traits in a Bethesda game? A silent protagonist is back? Were they actually listening? Starfield was going to
Don't
be
get
an
your hopes
actual
up, dude.
RPG, a true return to form. The reveal doesn't come without concerns, however. The performance, it doesn't look great. In fact, you can see the game barely holding it together at parts. The gunplay and dogfighting look a bit stiff.
It's a
and
good-looking
1,000
game.
times. Either another sweet line, or
Just
this game
not
sounds very
optimized
procedural.
at launch,
Todd
from what I
hears the
remember.
concerns. Don't worry. Starfield has more handcrafted content than ever before. More than Skyrim and Fallout 4 combined, he assures us.
Sure.
He doesn't give any solid figures though. For some reason, Todd says he's stopped giving out numbers.
16
March
times the
2023.
detail.
The game should be releasing in just a few months. But no. Game's delayed again. Come back in September 2023. Summer 2023. Todd returns to the stage again, and this time, he's brought almost an hour of gameplay with him. The game looks a lot more polished. We also hear some more familiar lines.
That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet.
You can
Yes,
actually
it is
climb that
too.
mountain.
That mountain is not just a backdrop. You can walk all the way to the top of the mountain.
September 6th is now about 3 months
Skyrim's
away,
still great.
so Todd and the boys put on some fresh kicks. It's time.
It's a
for
great
some
adventure game, not a great
Washington
role-playing
Post,
game.
GQ, Esquire. The man is everywhere. Todd's like a playboy. The marketing machine is now in full frenzy, and lots of totally normal articles are being released.
What the hell is even that?
He's Christopher Nolan. Todd Howard is the games. what
Here, I'm gonna
Tom
be nice.
Cruise
I'm
is
gonna
to
do
cinema.
a good.
He cackles when I suggest
Check
this
this
theory
out.
to him. Slight, boyishly handsome, sharp-jawed and puzzle-haired, he has the look of classical antiquity. He's become a semi-mythical figure to gamers. Now 52 years old, the only real sign of him being flesh and bone are some faint bags under his sea blue eyes. He's reserved, but not
There
at
you
all
go.
shy. Talkative, but never all that forthcoming. Okay,
The glaze is
even
crazy.
posts on Reddit. Fans are increasingly excited. It's like Todd's doing a victory lap here. Whatever they've cooked up over in Maryland, it's good. Turns out, they've had just about every QA person at Xbox on it, and they're saying it's the least buggy game in Bethesda's history. 500 developers, $400 million. Almost a decade in development. Out the way, Halo. This is Microsoft's new system seller. Emil says it's the best game.
Almost
they've
got this
ever
achievement.
made. Todd even compares it to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Probably has more of a feeling of like a Red Dead 2, right? Like I'm living the Western fantasy.
Other developers are
Boom.
trembling in fear at the release date. And games
Camera and
like Baldur's Gate
efficiency,
3
level
have
2.
shifted theirs back by more than a month. just to avoid
91
costly
achievements.
bugs. The masters of the RPG had checked out for a while, but on September 6th, Daddy's coming home.
Alright. Now we only need 300 more hits with this weapon.
And are you using insert generic internet browser here? The grey colour scheme. Generic corporate design. My god. Opera GX makes
Oh.
browsing online fun.
Sorry, we're not gonna watch the
perks
Opera ad.
So you can watch entertainment. Sick of your friends and family.
Opera
working
is great.
during some
I use
midnight
Opera.
reading.
That's how I'm
Hit
doing
the
this
panic
pop
button
out
and your
screen
tab's
here.
loaded. Most browsers have a limitation.
I do recommend it.
And the choice is, oh my, the perfect mix. Whatever you want. Comes your
I would take an Opera
bookmarks,
sponsorship. Just
cookies,
saying.
The thing. IP in 25 years.
Plug it to all 5 of my viewers.
At 2023,
There you go.
Starfield is set for launch. And people jump into Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years. At first, Starfield
Which
was met with rave
like weapon
reviews,
damage does it do now?
88 on Metacritic, and a ton of 10 out of 10s coming in.
No, like
It's
the same.
amazing. A near perfect space game. But a few hours in, and some time to reflect, and opinions slowly begin to change. The performance. On PC, there's a bit of chop.
Why did you not optimize this game for PC?
We did. It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. We really do push the technology, so you may need to
Next-gen
upgrade your
PC game.
for this game.
The system requirements, quite demanding. The game requires an SSD to run, and yet, space has never been this choppy.
We might run chop. Chop? We can handle chop, right? I mean, it's a $3,000 PC.
No, we're not going anywhere unless he says it's safe, all right?
Don't worry about chop. You don't know shit about chop.
Oh, really? And you do? You're such an expert on
I'll chop your credit card now. How about that?
Even
Dude,
on
the spells are gonna be
massive
even worse than
PCs,
this.
Low FPS and massive frame drops. Also, AMD sponsored the game, and conveniently, Intel and Nvidia parts are specifically struggling. There's also no Nvidia
Curious.
DLSS in the game.
Curious.
Something that modders are able to patch in within hours. On Xbox, things are a bit more consistent, but even then, Todd's chained us down to just 30 FPS, even on the $500 Series X. That 30 FPS is also the target FPS. That's what it's aiming for.
Oh,
It's not
God.
always what it's hitting. Walk into a city like New Atlantis, and that number dribbles down to the low 20s. This is on a AAA game, on a barely 3-year-old console, in the year 2023, when most other big games can run at 120 FPS. The head of Xbox says it's a creative decision. So far, the console Metacritic is just about hanging on, but for PC, it's bombs away. Spared the horrific performance and actually managed to run the game? Well, there is some good stuff here. For the first time in a modern Bethesda game, physics are no longer tied to frame rate. You can now uncap it without causing horrific issues with jump height, speed, enemies, and objects. The shipbuilding is great. The gun mods
That's
are pretty
crazy.
good. There's some RPG elements here, and for a Bethesda game, a relatively bug-free launch. Far less game-breaking issues and corrupt save files. They'd even cracked ladders. That's the good. And then there's everything else. Starfield was conceived 25 years ago, trademarked a decade ago, and started full development 8 years ago. And the final game had come out the other side, severely.
Oh, it's Gordon. He's back. I'm gonna get
In a lot
fucking
of
copyrighted
ways,
again.
It's one of their most bare bones games yet. Incredibly basic things are just missing. The FOV slider. Fallout 76 had one. Fallout 4 had one. A simple text file change in the game files allows Starfield to have one. So why wasn't
That's
it in the
crazy.
game? There's no ultra
It's
wide
Todd's
monitor
vision.
support,
That's why
no
he didn't
HDR on
want
PC.
there to be an
There's not
FOV
even
slider.
any images on the save files. There's also
He's
no
a
brightness,
visionary.
contrast, or gamma sliders of any kind.
He doesn't want you to
This
see
is
all
on
of
a
his game at
that looks
once.
horrifically washed out. Dodgy TV or monitor? Unlucky, sir. This is what your game looks like. An in-game calendar? Nope.
Alright, we're over
Your
halfway
start
there.
date is May the 7th, 2330. So if you want to know what day it is, you'll just have to keep track yourself. There was a calendar in Elder Scrolls Arena back in 1994. There's also no in-game map. Again, Arena had this in 1994. Simply no longer possible. Technological
It's not
marvels
impossible. It's not
lost
part
in
of
the
his
sands of
vision.
time.
This guy doesn't
And
get it.
despite multiple delays and intense QA testing, the game still quite buggy.
You can do pretty much anything. Exploring every inch of a mostly untouched galaxy.
You do explore differently in this game.
We want you to feel hopeful. We want you to feel this sense of awe and wonder. And sometimes a little fear.
Oh my god, that's fucking terrifying.
Now it would take probably 4, 5, 6 loading screens to get to my ship from the top of Neon. The amount of loading screens is disgusting.
Spaceflight should be exciting and dangerous.
Dude, how the fuck did they do it every time? How's Bethesda do it every
Always
time?
put so much care into all those little details that breathe life into our worlds.
Yeah, you can't knock stuff around.
Our biggest goal for lighting was to make the game
Oh, it looks
feel
like
more filmed.
Kingsfield
Use lighting
emulated.
and color to really make it feel more cinematic.
What the fuck?
I'd really like to change my ship right now. That'd be great. It's too bad that the NPC is up there.
Outside of the game itself, Starfield launched with a $300 collector's edition. This included a patch, some art, and a box. But centerpiece, an electronic watch. And
Oh,
turns
not
out
the
a
collector's
ton of
edition.
things are already breaking. Alright, pretty poor effort, but none of that matters. Modders patch most of it in a matter of days.
Yes, just have the
What does matter
fans
is the
make your
actual
game playable.
And Todd and the boys had somehow created entire star systems to explore here. And turns out, he wasn't lying. There actually are over 1,000 planets. Spaceships, space flight, all in a Bethesda game with the same bones as Morrowind. This thing was a miracle. We had unparalleled freedom to explore it. And after clearing the first mission, players board their ship and set course for the stars. They could fly anywhere.
Whoa.
Hold on. Set course? Was that? Loading screens?
Oh,
Surely we could actually fly to planets in this massive space exploration RPG. Some spend hours attempting this, and turns out, no. No, you can't. Because planets in this game are literally just massive JPEGs floating around in an empty skybox.
oh my god.
That's space.
Dude, that's completely flat. That's 100% flat,
That's
dude.
what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That can't be real, right?
You can't land on them. You can't even get to them without hours of your life gone. Manage that, and you'll just phase through them.
That moon is actually there. Yes, you can visit it too.
Want to actually explore space in this space exploration game? Well, that'll involve digging through layers of horrifically organized interstellar maps, and then bearing multiple rounds of cutscenes and loading screens to get anywhere. Exciting stuff.
Dude, we got rid of the
Can't
loading
fly in
screen like
atmosphere,
10 years ago.
Can't take off from planets. That's another loading
Kingsfield,
screen too.
the ancient city, doesn't have a
People are
single
overloaded.
loading screen once the
There's
game
also overly
starts.
drawn out animations every time you get in and out the cockpit and dock
That's
onto ships
crazy.
and stations. These aren't even used as covers for loading screens. They're just long, unskippable animations, just for the sake of it. Want to be immersive and actually fly around? Well, thankfully, we have options. You can get into the cockpit, long animation, launch into orbit, cutscene and loading screen, and then use the ship's targeting system to pick a planet with a quest marker on, cutscene and another loading screen. But why
Just
do
like 2
all
minutes
that
of
when it's 10
cutscenes
times
just
longer
to-
than fast traveling from the menu?
That's
And why
crazy.
even have a ship if you're just going to use the menu? There are some random encounters in space: pirates, bounty hunters, contraband scans, unique events. However, space combat isn't great, and all of these are completely avoidable by instantly fast traveling somewhere else. Bethesda also never bothered to add a system that tracks and prevents repeat encounters, so be prepared to hear a lot of the same space shanties.
Oh my god.
Okay, space, a pretty big part of an open world space exploration game, pretty much non-existent. But it's okay still. This is a Bethesda game. Their strong suit has always been on for exploration and world building.
True.
Once we actually land on these
The exploration
planets,
in
there'd be an
Skyrim's
overwhelming amount of
fantastic.
things to do and places to see.
It's good in Fallout 4
More
too.
handcrafted content than
There's just so
Skyrim
many
and
cool
Fallout
set
4
pieces.
combined, Todd said. We could land anywhere. Explore entire planets. So fumble through the menus again,
I remember the first time I got to Blackreach in Skyrim, it was like eye-opening to me. Like I had never seen an area like that in a game before. Right, you navigate through this long, like dwarven dungeon, and you just get to an entire like world, like underground.
Let's check the map.
It's so cool.
What on earth is that? A bug? A rendering error, perhaps? No. Turns out, that's just how they designed it. Okay, let's put that back. Luckily, there's a scanner we can use, and it looks like there's a few undiscovered locations in the distance we can head to, hundreds of meters away. That could take a while, so best
We're
get
almost
out
done with the Morning Star.
Wait, there's no rover. Bethesda designed a planetary exploration game without a readable map or a land vehicle. Okay, running it is. The world looks good. Bethesda has nailed the lighting in Skybox, and there's some interesting creatures, natural formations dotted about, alien dung piles to sift through, and a few old facilities to explore. This particular planet has an abandoned cryo lab, a UC listening station, a relay station, and an occupied cave. Not sure why the abandoned facilities are full of enemies, but occupied caves are completely empty. But anyway, wow.
Don't worry about that.
There's even some of that old Bethesda environmental storytelling here. Nice. But eventually, it's time to take off and head to another planet. Hold on. Is that identical formations? The same creatures, the exact same cryo lab? The building layout, enemies, spawn placements, even down to dead bodies, notes, and terminal entries. Everything about this place, the exact same. The game has over 1,000 planets and 120 star systems. And Bethesda decided to just sprinkle the exact same 100 locations around them.
That's crazy.
A weird algorithm. A lot of the time, that'll be more of those caves, cryo labs, and UC listening stations. Even the main quest of the game recycles these identical locations.
Oh my god.
Multiple times.
Oh, we were right there, man!
Outside of procedural places of interest, there's about 4 main cities in the game, around 30 small settlements, and just 82 unique locations. All this spread between 1,000 planets.
10 more.
There's also a couple dozen temples scattered around, but these lose their charm quickly because, again, they're all the exact same, down to the enemy placement and even the same puzzle. These are also dotted around on random planets, so half the time you'll be finding these ancient, untouched temples next to a procedurally generated Taco Bell drive-thru. There's also a book that shows
there we
most
go.
of the game's points of interest.
Hammer and Axe Mastery. Another achievement. We're at 92. Hell yeah. We're almost done. Listen, I think we can get to... I think we can get to 94 today. I am willing to sit down and finish the crossbow as well. Which is actually going to take the longest out of all of them, because I'm going to have to run back and buy bolts a few times. Here, let's see. Yeah, this one. All right, let's see. This was going to be a bit tougher too, because it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while, but we'll get it.
It is the most interesting place in the galaxy. Again, Todd wasn't lying. You can land.
I got time it too.
However, everywhere is pretty much the exact same. Planets in Starfield do have varying weather, atmospheric hazards, gravity,
it's gonna take forever,
and signs of life. There's also some hills, sometimes some craters, and even a few planets with multiple biomes. But mostly, these planets are going to be looking the same, and you'll be trekking across incredibly repetitive, flat land on foot for hours. Proper mountains in the game? Not really. Valleys? Nah. Rivers? What now? There are oceans, even some...
Oh my gosh, every bolt I miss is another shop trip.
Underwater swimming, so we can't even see them. And hold on, does that say boundary reached? After running just 20 minutes? What? We hadn't landed on a planet at all. We'd landed on a small, randomly generated tile of a planet with almost nothing on. The tiles aren't even persistent with each other. Land on a bordering tile, and the last tile will look completely different. While there's not enough going on,
let me move my
planets in
cursor.
this game, at the same time,
Maybe.
the opposite problem. For a game about space exploration, nowhere is actually unexplored. Head to a barren moon in the middle of nowhere, well out into the furthest corner of the settled system, and you'll still land next to 3 old factories and a swarm of pirates not even 500 meters from the ship. You've just landed on a world with radiation storms,
There you go.
200-degree temperatures, and acid rain. Oh look, there's a cave with some human remains. You're not exploring or discovering anything here. So what is there to actually do on these planets? Well, you can scan and survey the geology and fauna for XP. However, this basically boils down to just running around spamming the left bumper. Of course, there's also no index for any of this, so you can't even see what you've scanned. Also, again, no underwater swimming, so Bethesda went through all the trouble of modeling, designing, and texturing underwater creatures.
That's crazy as fish.
You can scan them, you can mine materials and build outposts with them, which you can use to mine more materials, but outside of crafting and XP farming, it's a loop you can skip entirely by just looting or purchasing stuff. You can run through the same few heavily reused places of interest, and finally, complete the 1 or 2 incredibly basic Radiant fetch or kill quests that have a chance to spawn on them. But a few hours of running around the same small tiles of planets, clearing the same factories, mining the same rocks, and digging through the same piles of literal shit, and the charm begins to wear off. The game's 4 cities. They're not massive, and the performance is absolutely horrific in them. It's also 2023, and anytime you want to enter a building, there's a loading screen. Fast travel to a building, it will put you outside the front door. So that's 2 loading screens.
Oh my god.
You can't keep getting away.
Again, this game requires an SSD to run. Also, this is the biggest city. There's like 400 people here, and it's in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Jeez.
It's also home to the largest and most advanced military force in the entire galaxy. But walk just a few hundred meters away, and you'll find camps of pirates and mercenaries. Trying to get around the city? Good luck, because again, there's no actual surface map, so finding anything here is a complete nightmare. The NPCs, incredibly lifelike. Their facial expressions are quite something.
Oh my god.
It turns out, in the year 2330, gunshots don't phase anyone.
Nobody cares.
COD has now also just completely given up on the concept of Radiant AI. In Oblivion, NPCs had fairly in-depth day-to-day schedules. Here, they're just walking around randomly in silence, staring into your soul. Almost every
God.
named NPC in the game is now tagged as essential and unkillable. The AI in general, interesting too.
I'm out of bolts. Oh, I gotta go get more.
Terrible in combat, weird spawns.
Oh, it's so fucking annoying.
Glitching through walls.
I'm gonna have to do this so many
Essential.
times.
The enemy variety, overwhelming. 90% of them are bounty hunters with guns, pirates with guns, or angry religious people with guns. There's also a few types of robots,
think I gotta sell
and
something.
then a bunch of mostly passive animals.
I think I'm out gold
The
too.
combat itself is actually pretty decent, but there's not much of it. Add on to that most enemies being pirates, a faction you'll probably join early on, and now there's even less combat.
Yo guys, it's me, Charlie. Hey, did that guy just turn to Saiyan?
The new lockpicking system.
I gotta move this.
Very
Yeah, I
fun
gotta sell
and
something.
very rewarding. And for a game so
Give
heavily
this a
reliant
pause. Alright, what can we sell? We'll just sell this map. There we go. Yeah, we gotta sell something else. We might as well do it now. Sell Triple Fang. We don't need any more weapons or anything. Alright. We got enough gold for last us the rest of the run. So we're set. We're just gonna have to travel back here a few times.
Menus. The UI here, absolutely horrific.
This is f***ing bullshit. Okay? These f***ing assholes, these
Menus within menus, maps within maps. Todd has been known to streamline game features over the years, and Starfield is no different. Melee weapons. They're in the game, but there's not many. The ones that are there aren't modifiable like they were in Fallout 4 and 76. You can still take gun mods off, but this time you can't add them back onto other weapons. They just disappear. No armor and weapon dismantling. You can't loot outfits from NPCs' bodies. And the base building from Fallout 4 is here.
Almost got another
but it's
achievement
bare
though.
bones. There's no settlement
Only a few
system,
more.
raids, or economy
Two more.
system, and the whole thing is pretty much pointless.
Oh, what am I?
Boom.
Stealth, definitely worse than previous games. People now see you through walls
We're at
and platforms,
93.
and guards just teleport directly to you. Companions rarely crouch.
Oh, it's
and
fucking 10
alert
o'clock
everyone
though.
all the time.
Yeah, we're gonna go at least until the
The game
video's
also
done.
has cartoonishly large vents peppered around buildings, conveniently placed in areas you need to sneak around. They're so big, you can literally sprint around in them. This is definitely a coincidence, and not because Bethesda didn't bother to lower the player hitbox when you're crouching.
Coincidence? I think not.
The speech in Starfield? A big step up from 4. No voice actors means more varied dialogue options, and a more nuanced dialogue
No, I'm
system.
not gonna blue ball
More chances to
everyone
persuade
like
and
that.
expressed outcomes,
Also,
less
dude, you have no idea how long it's gonna take to farm
Also,
the
you can now
last few.
actually see what your character's
Like,
about to
it's
say.
genuinely gonna
However,
take so
there's also
fucking
a new
long to get the
persuasion
magic
system,
achievements.
And it uses multiple rounds of speech checks.
Like, we need to do this, but for all of the spells that we haven't done before, and all of them, we have like
Not a
recharge
terrible
so
idea,
much fucking
but Emil
slower
and the
than
boys
this
couldn't
does.
really be asked to actually write all these speech options. So instead, they just wrote a bunch of generic ones the game can pull from, meaning half the stuff you say here will make no sense at all.
Hey, Douglas, how's the wife?
She died.
Attaboy!
It's also still based on percentages, so you can just say.
So we're gonna finish the crossbow and then we'll be done.
I'm not giving you my card.
While there's some incredibly believable persuasion here,
Maybe I can make an exception.
the dialogue itself
Oh my God.
generally quite bland and boring.
Oh my god, I still have to talk to this bitch.
Fallout 4 was criticized for its overuse of Radiant quests.
Another summit.
So in
Oh my
Starfield,
gosh.
they
It's
dialed it
Preston,
up to
the
11.
goat.
Even a ton of the regular quests feel Radiant. There's a ton of fetch and kill quests, and these are now even worse because of all the loading screens and menu digging.
I've waited you.
Need to speak to someone? Well, despite there being faster than light ship travel, inter-system radio, internet, or messaging doesn't exist here. You're gonna have to travel a few light years, and there are a few rounds of loading screens to have a 30-second chat, and then go through the same again to leave. A significant portion of the game could be skipped if you could just send an email. You also have a smartwatch on your wrist for the entire game, but can't talk or text someone on the same planet. But steal a paperclip, and everyone in every star system in the game instantly knows about it. Makes sense. A lot of the quests are linear, ending on one of two outcomes, and there's pretty much no interaction between different quest lines, or even factions. Their outcomes don't affect anything, and mean nothing. While there's less quests than Skyrim, you'll still be given a metric ton of them, and again, with over 1,000 planets and dozens of other locations, the boys at Bethesda didn't consider adding a sort by local option, meaning it's a nightmare to work out where they all are and get through them. Okay, the quests aren't brilliantly made, But how about the world and story itself? This was Bethesda's first new universe in 25 years. They couldn't just coast on pre-established work here. They'd have to write this whole thing themselves from the ground up.
Yeah, that's
But
the
it's
thing I
fine.
always forget.
Todd
Both
Scott's
Fallout
top writing
and the
him,
Elder Scrolls
Emil,
were
and the rest of the
IPs
writing
that
team
Bethesda like
sat down to
inherited.
plot.
Like they didn't write them.
First order
Like
of
those settings
business,
already
this
existed.
game's setting.
Starfield
Let's make it extremely
was original.
inoffensive and completely sanitized. Remember, lads, we're gunning for a mainstream crowd here. We don't want to put anyone off. No mature themes, dark humor, nothing edgy at all. This is not Fallout in space. More like the Jetsons. So they design a game with a tone more akin to a children's show than a gritty, realistic space frontier. Most characters are dull, completely morally upstanding, straight arrows, with nothing to them. Even the pirates here are Nickelodeon tier. And the nightclub. Let's populate it with old men walking around in suits with briefcases.
I'm out of bolts again.
And a few Teletubbies dancing on stage.
Oh.
Yes, that's what a
Alright.
nightclub looks like.
Back to
Also,
Jamark
we
Neely.
have an incredibly detailed dismemberment system with gore and other animations ready-made from Fallout 4. Let's get rid of it completely. This is despite the game already having a mature rating, by the way. And while there's no rover in this, we'll still put vehicles in the game. And even cool mechs. And even a whole story around those cool mechs. Can the player pilot them?
No.
No. We'll make it a plot
No,
point,
why
but
would
that's
we let them do
illegal
that?
in universe. Okay. Only enemies can then. No. Not them either.
Alright.
We'll just add them as background furniture in one or two locations.
Bolts, please.
So what about the actual story? Okay. Hear me out.
Alright.
Starfield's universe has a series of massive wars set across multiple star systems. Let's set this game decades after any of that happens. Right? Will there be alien characters? No, not really. Just people, some alien animals, and plants. We're going for realism here. True sci-fi, with a grounded NASA punk art style.
Oh my god.
Also, let's add space wizards at the end, driving the entire plot of the game. The player's goal is to become Starborn. What we'll have them do is collect the same
The
artifact in
Starborn.
the same temple with the
Like
same
the
puzzle again
Dragonborn,
24
but
times.
space.
Nice. Then at the end of the game, they can jump to a parallel universe. But let's not get too crazy with this. They're all the exact same, with a 15% chance of one minor change, like a character becoming a potted plant. Brilliant. No one could predict
Wow.
any of this. We just have to make sure that hair clipping glitch on the hunter character that would spoil who they are and the game's big reveal is patched
Oh my
before
God.
final release. Despite the issues, on launch, Starfield does amazingly. Bethesda says it's their biggest launch ever. It's the #1 bestseller on Steam despite being free with the Games Pass, and there's over 6 million players on launch. The user reviews, very positive. However, the honeymoon doesn't last long. After sinking a few hours into the game, the initial excitement wears off, and opinions begin to change. Not good. Todd, they're leaving negative reviews on Steam.
Uh-oh.
Now we've been through this before. Didn't handle it amazingly. We should just keep a level head here. Let these reviews simmer and ride out the storm. Log on to Steam. Respond to the reviews.
Oh, what the?
Each one individually. Tell them their subjective opinions are objectively wrong.
What the
Boring.
fuck?
That's insane. Astronauts went to the moon a few times. There's nothing there. They weren't bored. That's good.
Are you serious?
Write
Did
that.
they seriously do that?
Bad
On
RPG
Steam? That's
mechanics?
crazy.
They must be playing the game wrong. Tell them to create a different character and try again. Send. What else? The loading screens? Well, have they considered the amount of data they're generating in those load screens? Great. Send that too. Emil also sees the backlash. He ponders for a moment. Was it possible their game actually had some issues?
No.
Could he have been
Emil,
wrong?
you're wrong. It was
No.
flawless.
He was right. It's the fans that were wrong.
It's
So he
always the
boots up
fans that
Twitter
are wrong.
And writes a 15-part thread on just that.
Oh my god.
However, shockingly, Bethesda's rebuttals are ineffective. On Steam, very positive slips to mostly positive to mixed, and by December, mixed to mostly negative.
Wow.
Todd blames the bad reviews on
That's
the game
brutal.
being too different. But it was alright. December 7th, 2023. It's awards night, and Todd takes his seat. Online, the game was getting blasted, but the critics would understand.
And Starfield. And the game award goes to
Ooh. Baldur's Gate 3. Hell yeah. Actual goated game.
Snubbed again.
PG3 is one of the best games to come out in the past
Starfield's
decade.
player numbers
It's not even a hot take.
Within a month, 330,000 players on Steam dribbles down to 100,000. The next month, that becomes 40,000. And by December, the game has less than 10% of its original player base. It's not just players. The game is
Sorry, I don't think that's
high-profile modders are
like
just up and
the
quitting
biggest
in the middle
deal,
of development.
like the player count.
Okay.
For like a single player
problem.
experience,
They
like
need
you
to do
can't expect
something
people to play it
quick. So
as
people
long
at
as like
Bethesda mark their
Skyrim,
desks and get to work on
but
patches.
it's still a crazy drop off.
And within a few months, miracles start to materialize. 60 frames per second, a car, an eat food button. My god, they'd even added a map.
Wow.
However, any goodwill from patches instantly incinerated as they unveil paid mods for a third time and try to shift singular quest mods for $7 a piece.
Oh my god.
People will buy anything. The more you put
Horse
into
armor.
it, the more it gets back.
Review bombs rain again. So what happened? Well, post-launch, a few articles on the game's development come
We're out again.
and we get a glimpse of the behind the scenes. Back in 2015,
We're gonna need 2 more
the
chaperones.
production of Starfield was kicking off. For Bethesda, this is also a time of aggressive expansion. 180 people in a single building in Rockville in 2015 turns into 500 people spanning 4 development teams, cities, and multiple
Wow.
countries by 2021. And naturally, for development, this changes things. Individual developer freedom goes down the toilet, and people are now forced to adhere to a strict
Oh,
development schedule.
hey, we just watched that ad
According to a
in
former
my
dev,
media class.
Some of the best features of Skyrim and Fallout 3 started out as random side projects they'd play around with during development. However, Bethesda's new games are made with a checklist design. Veer off it, and upper management won't be happy. So this experimentation is no longer possible. At the same time, a ton of bureaucracy, constant meetings, and a game that is now essentially designed by committee. Word on the street is, Todd is known to be an obsessive micromanager, so almost every creative decision runs through him. And with 500 people now under his belt,
Oh my god,
he's
Todd.
stretched thin. Emil Paliarulo is still the head writer, and his philosophy hasn't changed here. He likes to keep things simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. This is my own personal rule for myself, right?
And why put in any effort writing a good story when players are just gonna make a paper aeroplane out of it?
And they're gonna throw them around the room, and they're never gonna see your story. Because they are gonna spend 30 hours making shacks.
He's also
Oh
the
my
design
God.
lead, and he's still absolutely raw dogging that too. No need for a proper, widely accessible, unified document to keep the 500 people working on the game informed and on the same page. Let's make the game itself a design document. Just write some notes in the game files as we go. The result of this,
My god.
a very compartmentalized development with a ton of siloed game features that never interact with each other. Mechs that are designed, textured, and coded, and then barely appear outside of a single mission. And systems like Zero Gravity that again are only used a handful of times. After negative internal feedback on gameplay, they'd also pivot direction massively mid-development.
Less than
And a ton
100
of
shots
systems
left on
central to
this.
The game were trimmed, and Starfield goes from a more survival and resource-oriented game to something more casual. Fuel consumption, punishing planetary hazards, and the necessity of outpost building, all either scrapped or nerfed to the point of being irrelevant. In the past, Todd has said he builds his games starting with a world, and then builds everything out from there, finding the fun as they go along. However, for Starfield, that happened in the final year of development. It took around 7 years to find that fun, and for the vast majority of people, it was nowhere to be found. Despite the patches and DLC, The damage had been done. Starfield's player base continued to dwindle, and within 6 months of launch, 97% of its Steam players gone. On Steam, for Skyrim, it took around a decade before players dipped below 20,000.
Wow.
For Fallout 4,
That's
that
crazy.
took around 5 years. For
Oh my god.
Starfield,
Alright, putting
took
it in
3
comparison,
months.
that's
As of
insane.
2025, Fallout 4 has 6 times the Steam players, Skyrim around 7. The developer's original intent for the game was to be a long-term platform for annual expansions, but with these player numbers,
Not
not
happening.
sure about that. Even on Bethesda's communication channels, months of silence on the game. No patches for almost half a year. Had they up and quit too? But then in March 2025, a tweet. The game is not dead yet. A patch even comes out in May. Some bug fixes, creation kit additions, and a new, very low graphical setting. Nice. And with a presumed second expansion for Starfield in the works, the game's remaining players wait for details, with a sea of paid creations to keep them busy in the interim. But for the third time now,
Baldur's Gate 3.
Let's go.
leaves the Game Awards empty-handed. The industry was not the same as it once was. The competition is now hot. The tech, incredibly impressive.
Where's
But this
balls?
next project was different. Bethesda's forte. They could not mess it up.
Oh, yeah, about that. Oh, I guess that's it. The cliffhanger.
Zombies have been a pop culture staple for decades. Movies, books.
Oh, I auto played his next video. That was really good. You know, sub to Big Boss on YouTube. This guy puts out good videos. I'll watch more of those. All right. Well, we're almost done the crossbow. We will finish it out normal style. Turn the sound back on. I wonder if this will work. No. Alright, we're out of bolts. For the last time, we gotta go back and buy more bolts. Alright, now we're set. This'll do it. It's so convenient that these exist. Like, that's so lucky. Otherwise, farming would be so crazy hard in this game. Alright, only a few more. 2, 1. Boom! Ranged mastery. 94 achievements. Tick that up. We are very nearly done. Alright. Now, let's check. Only achievements we have left, we gotta level up some spells. We gotta do water and dark. Which shouldn't be that bad. The only question is, can we actually hit these guys with the spells? Alright. Yes, okay, Eclipse will hit them. Good. What about Vortex? If Vortex can't hit them, we're in trouble. Look how slow it recharges. Okay. Alright. So, we'll be fine. We can do this. It's just gonna take a really long time. But we'll be able to do it. Alright. We're gonna run back. We're gonna heal. We're gonna save. And then we'll be ready to finish this up on Sunday. Hell yeah. Alright, let's use Big Blue. Let's fill up our mana. So we're gonna get everything prepped to get right into it next session. Oh, and we want the Widow's, or the Queen Staff. So we can regen some mana. Alright, we got all the healing water we need. Alright, and now we'll go back to red, and we'll save. Level 64. Alright. And that's where we'll call it for the night. So thank you everyone for hanging out and watching. It was a good stream. It was a chill stream. We watched some good video. Can't believe Gordon would do me like that though. Shame on him. I'm gonna have to scrub that VOD. But yeah, some good ass gaming. Next stream on Sunday, we'll finish it up. We'll get all the rest of the achievements. Hate's a strong word. I am upset with Gordon. I can never hate the man. He's too much of a beautiful soul. Well, I'm gonna get out of here and get ready for bed. Everyone have a good night. Justin, you have a good night. Thanks for coming by as always. Always great having you here. And yeah, take it easy guys. See you in a few days.